Good morning. As you can see, no Asakusa today. We're out in Ome. I was here yesterday, I'll be here today, and perhaps even tomorrow, I'm not sure. There's a ton of work which we're chewing through. Some of it we'll show you today on a video. Sadako's here to help me with some of this. And yesterday we took some video, so we'll be showing it this morning. People are probably going to ask about fish. I can't see any yet. Did I put the camera in the creek? No. I can't see any fish yet. But I didn't bring any food. We didn't try feeding them just yet. But it's getting closer. We're hearing different birds now. I know just a few minutes before the stream started, we heard a Japanese uguisu. And we'll probably hear it again in the stream. He or she goes up and down the river. Excuse me. So Sadako's here in the building. She's upstairs actually. She's already, rather than sit here next to me wasting time, she's working upstairs right now. So someone says a bush warbler. I think it's a bush warbler, but I'm not 100% sure about this. When you put uguisu into translation software, you get nightingale, and there's no way it's a nightingale. This song is completely different. Even Dave, and I'm a turkey when it comes to birds, even Dave. Someone says that's quite a deep pool. The spillway is just over a meter high, and the pool below it, it's up to my knees. There's no way. That's not actually a pool. We're between two of these weirs. This is the one off to the left. There's another one off to my right. The river goes down in stages. And I've zoomed the camera in pretty tight today because I'm hoping during the stream we might get a visit from our heron friend. Ishigami-san, the staff here, she tells me it's daily. The heron is around here every day, all the time. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so today's work is this. I've got some desk work to do. The work I'm doing here in Ome is noisy work. We're working with the table saw upstairs and the bandsaw and the table router. And all of these things I can't do while we're here for a couple of reasons. One, it's extremely noisy. And two, I do not want to sit and work with a table saw watching the chat. I mean, if there ever was a recipe for disaster, that's it. So I'm sorry, no. While I was doing this yesterday, Sadako took my Osmo and took some video. And we'll see a bit of this later on so I can show you what's going on. The job we're doing is cutting the slots in boxes. But let's postpone this for a few minutes and we'll explain as it goes on. We also have a book corner with a bit of a difference. Very much fun for me, maybe less interesting than the book corner we had last time, but whatever. Today the job Ishigami-san has set for me, the Ome staff, is this. This is the way our prints get sent out. The prints are mounted on acid-free paper, slipped into a packaging with a story, and out they go. She has run out of these, this particular one, so she's given me the assignment today. I don't know how many she wants me to do. Let's start with 10 of them and see how we go for time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops. So my job is to, 1, trim these prints to the correct size, and 2, put them onto the paper. It's a trivial job, whatever. I asked her, can I have something to keep me busy during the stream here? We then have an update on some carving, another job I have to do here tomorrow that again I can't do on stream because it involves power tools. So, but let's just get started. If Dave had a smartphone, we could get him hooked up with Merlin Bird software. It's funny, I have built-in bird recognition software. Half an hour ago, I was here getting set up, getting the microphones ready, getting the cameras ready, and I heard that uguisu, that bird, singing outside. And I thought, this is cool. It's going to be very nice during the stream. We will have this bird, but people are going to ask me what it is. So I left the room here, went upstairs to B1 and started to go upstairs to the top where Sadako was working. I met her on the stairs because she was coming halfway down saying, "Did you hear it? Did you hear it? We've got to tell the stream about this." So, and she had her phone open looking for the English word and whatever. Anyway, it's for sure. If it comes back, he sings each place for a while. I guess the way these birds work is, she looked it up for me. It winters here, but it doesn't make its song. So it's here quietly during the winter, huddling around in the trees or whatever. Then when spring comes, it starts singing. We all know why. They start singing. So, and he jumps. He sang here, moved down, moved down, moved down. Obviously looking for a partner. So if we're in luck, over the next 90 minutes, we will hear it come back. And if not, it'll be next week because they're all over the place here. Does she have bird ID software or doesn't need it? Well, that one's a no-brainer. Everybody here, even Dave, when he heard that, he knew it was the bird called uguisu. Someone says, when are we getting more YouTube? Can you hear it? Let me crank up the outside microphone. This is uguisu, which I believe is bush warbler. Spring has sprung. That's the thing. When you hear this, what's the English thing? You see a robin in the garden, spring has sprung. For the Japanese, this is the one. He'll come closer. My sample. What's that phrase? Spring has sprung, the grass is riz. I wonder where something is. I can't remember. YouTube videos. You're asking about YouTube videos. I mean, I don't know what to say. At the moment, I don't want to sort of, what can I say? I don't want to put on the dog here, but at the moment, I and we are busier than we have ever been, than I have ever been in my entire life. I know YouTube video, the next YouTube video is competing with many, many, many other things at the moment. I can cut a few of these at once to show. We're not supposed to, but... Is it, I wonder where the birdies is? Is that it? Spring has sprung, the grass is riz, I wonder where the birdies is. That sounds right. Who is it? James Thurber? No. Ogden Nash, kinda. I don't know. Ogden Nash, John's got it, yeah. Cutting more than one, you know, use a rough edge. No. One at a time, one at a time. The videos. All I can say is the next few videos are indeed planned. All the film is that the word we use? All the film for the next washi video is already now in the system. It's in Final Cut Pro, waiting for me to get busy on the editing. The next video about the old, the blast from the past videos where we show old stuff. The next one also is all in Final Cut Pro. waiting for me to get busy with the editing. And the video that I prepared for me making the takeoff print is also all in the can, waiting for me to get busy with the editing. So it's coming. But going back to this situation that I talked about to you on Saturday with Kabota-san, of course, video making right now is not something I can spend time on. I am now a printer for the next month or so, and maybe for the rest of this year. I am a printer. I have no specific update to bring you about Mr. Kabota, and I thank you very much. We prepared that page to leave comments for Kabota-san, and we've passed, about 150 of you have put comments on that page, for which thank you very much. Now we've passed it on, of course, to his daughter. We received a reply from her that basically consisted of tears, and she said she will pass it on to her father and share it with her father. I haven't yet heard back from him, and I may not hear back from him. He had already vividly told us I will not be in communication anymore. He gave his phone away. So we may not hear directly from Mr. Kabota, so it's okay. It doesn't matter. Forget that. We have put the thing out there. And I believe his daughter is sharing it with him. That's all I can update you at the moment. And thank you very much for those of you who took the time and trouble to put something in. Also, I did update that page. It might be of interest to people or not. So, the link here that Nightbot has just linked, this page has been updated. I included, I'm not sure if I should have done this. I think it's okay just to share this. It's better for sharing rather than just hiding all this stuff. I prepared a letter for Kabota-san. We haven't sent it to him yet, actually, because at the moment it's in English. I did it yesterday. We have to now get it. First, I will confirm that we are actually hearing back from him. But I prepared a letter for Kabota-san, and it's now on that page, the page that the Nightbot just linked. Okay, somebody's mentioning Kabota-san's face is visible there. Nowadays it's totally okay. At the time we uploaded that video, he had requested to us that we not make it too obvious and too public that it was him. It doesn't matter now. If we can easily show him now, it's not a problem. At the time we uploaded that video, he was worried because his then employer, he was moonlighting for us. And in Japan, when you have an employment contract with a company, almost always, well, 99.99% of the time, you are specifically prohibited from moonlighting or working for another company. So that was why, at the time, he asked us not to show his face. But it's okay now. If his face is there, if it leaks, if it's known that that's Kabota-san, at the moment now, it's not a problem at all. So thank you for the warning, but it's not a problem. There's sort of a related problem at the moment. I'm trying to collect some material that shows our history working with Kabota-san, and I don't have any pictures because he was always like, whatever, you know. So I don't really have a nice, clear, good picture of him. Can we send Kabota-san a giant chocolate egg? Well, I'm not sure if you're up on the story here. That page that we just linked a few minutes ago, we are sending Kabota-san as much warmth and friendliness and appreciation as is possible. How much of it is received at that end, I'm still not sure. But we're doing what we can do. Some says it's a link to the video. I'm sorry, I don't have that handy. There are 2 videos on our YouTube channel. I think somebody will find it for us there. There's a video doing test printing on the Serpent Strikes, and a video doing test printing on another print. Someone's got the link. Thank you very much. Thanks, Lost. Dig your hands into the basket of chocolate eggs. Anybody who can come up with links for us. Thank you very much. 2 of them, Lost Words. Double chocolate egg, 2 hands. I should have got those ready. Thank you. The birds, the birds. I know it's really still very, very quiet here, but once spring gets going, and I remember this vividly from when I lived here all the time, once spring gets going in full, it's around 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, whatever, upstairs. It's hard to stay awake. You don't need an alarm clock here because birds. Was it Kabota-san's daughter who was learning how to print for him? No, that's no connection. You've mixed up 2 stories here. Mitamura-san, one of the other printers in the guild here, the Kumiai, his daughter, Yukino-san, is trying to work to learn from him. We're sponsoring the jobs. We're paying her for the time she spends doing this, giving her blocks, giving her paper. And the 2 of them are working through training. It's not actually really going all that well, but whatever. He wants to give it a try, she wants to give it a try, so we're okay on this. So, but that's Mitamura-san, not Kabota-san. Kabota-san's daughter is, well, he's 77, so Kabota-san's daughter is, whatever, my children's generation, you know. Somebody can remember when a chocolate egg required giving up a firstborn child. Has the currency become debased? I don't know. I think in my mind it's when somebody does something helpful a little bit over and above what might be expected, that's when they get a chocolate egg. Have I debased the currency by giving them away too easily? I think recently I haven't been doing that, actually. Yeah, that letter, there's no way I'm about to try and read that on stream here. There's no way, I'm sorry. We saw enough hanky stuff the other day, I'm sorry. There's no way. I'm going to talk too much about this. Not many eggs lately at all. There you are. So I'm now hearing both stories. I've debased it and I've made it scarce. I don't know. But actually, too, the disbursement of the chocolate eggs seems to be not up to me. Any random person in the stream here, in the chat here, can disperse an egg. So it's not really, it's not gifts from on high anymore. Have I unleashed a chaos? Well, I guess now, maybe now we have 2 levels of the currency. We have your generic chocolate eggs that anybody can give away, and then we have the special chocolate eggs that come from on high. I don't know. Once they're out there in the market, how do you distinguish eggs from generic eggs from David's eggs? I don't know. There's probably nothing in the bot either that will stop people from sending eggs to themselves. I shouldn't talk about this. But do you remember too, we gave away some real chocolate eggs once? I don't remember. Who was this to? There was a guest visiting. Was it Mafalda-san the first time she came? I don't remember. we had a guest in Asakusa, and at the end of the stream I said, hey, by the way, look under your chair. And the person looked under your chair, and we had bought some real chocolate eggs. I don't remember who that was. That's before the pandemic. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Someone's got it. Was it Andy? Now we've ultimately debased the currency now. When you think about the chat we're having just now, I'm reading what you're writing and responding to you and stuff. But later on, Straight Edge Dude and other people, they're putting these videos up on YouTube, but they don't have the chat. Those stored videos from here don't have the chat. So this thing we're doing here today, I'm working, reading your comments and answering them. It really won't make a whole lot of sense. Whatever, I can't worry about that. Just take care of the present. The future will take care of itself. That bird, if you saw it, that's a pigeon. That's one of the 2 pigeons that the guy next door is feeding. Well, they have the chat transcripts, do they? But it's not like side-by-side live as you go, is it? Straight Edge Dude isn't preserving the Ome streams. Ah, soka. That's because I was fumbling and struggling to make a new format. Oh. Soka. Okay, whatever. Maybe I should chat with him later. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I had asked him when I was still struggling, trying to put that new format together. I'm like, please, like this isn't ready for prime time. Soka. Bird in the back, someone says. Is it our heron? Where do you see this? I don't see. Where are we looking here? Someone says bird in the back. I don't see a bird there. Along the wall, above the water. Along the wall. If so, I've tried to do that actually now and then. Someone's suggesting here, whenever I respond to a question, I should read the question out loud first. And that way, people who are watching the videos later will understand what's going on. I do keep that in mind sometimes, but I think I'm not always 100% at all. Karen saying, you're talking about the corners here to show. Do you know about the bad news from this, Karen? These are discontinued. The company has gone out of business. Their tooling has been dispersed. We've had this story twice. The company who was making them, and I was buying them all the years, they sent us a note one day saying, we're shutting down, there's no money in this, blah, blah, blah. We contacted them to see if we could, 1, buy their remaining stock, and 2, can we arrange somehow to help them get continuing on this? And it turned out that they didn't need our financing or anything. They did find someone who bought their tooling and continued the business. And that's the company that's doing it now. What's it called? Shibata Sesko Kabushiki Gaisha. But now, after years of this, we have received, not just now, this is a few months back, we received communication from Setsuko Shibata Setsuko that they were closing down, and for good, and the tooling was being dispersed. And that's happened. And we bought their warehouse. We bought everything they had. They come in boxes and cases, so this has 200 pieces, They come in a box of 12, and then 12 boxes come in a case, I forget, a gross, whatever. And we bought everything. We bought their entire warehouse. And I think at the time, this was half a year ago or so, a year ago, I can't remember. At the time, we figured it might last us 3-4 years. So we have a few years to hope that somebody else comes into the market with a similar product. Yeah, we bought a couple of million, whatever they are. We've had this story before, sorry, whatever. Okay, what's the time? 8:25. I've done 4 sheets, nothing, whatever. Let's just do a few more. And then the video, let's see. Let's go to about 8:45, then remind me to show you some video. Let me do a few more sheets of this. Then I'll show you some video from yesterday. Cornered the market, yeah. Someone's saying about Kabota-san's workshop that we disassembled. The web page that we have linked already a number of times here to send comments to Kabota-san. Halfway down that page, there's a photograph of the room above my head here. I'm in B2. That photograph was taken in B1. Kabota-san's boxes are there. As I mentioned on that page, of course, we are going to very, very, very carefully preserve, protect, curate, and display his materials. I have not yet opened any, and I'm not going to be opening them on stream today or next week. I kind of feel the man is there in hospice. He's in great trouble. The last thing I want to do right now while he is still there is open his boxes. Hey, look at all this cool stuff I got. I think that would be hugely disrespectful. So just wait. Just wait. There's no rush on this stuff. The material has been preserved. So just wait. I'm treating him the way I myself would want to be treated. That's all I can say. Not to mention that anyway, there's no rush and we're all busy. What I will do this afternoon, actually, and I talked to you about this before, I'm going to find the box that has his pigments, because his pigment bowls are all there in liquid form. That's how quickly this all happened. He went to the hospice, and his workshop, the pigments were in liquid form in bowls, ready to work on the next print. And I can't just let that sit there, because if I do, then it will be full of mold a couple of weeks later. So I will find that box. We already know which one it is. And I will take care of getting that preserved. We will dry out those cups and get them preserved. But other than that, just wait. Documenting how his workshop was set up prior to boxing it up. Well, of course, the entire thing is here. We have the whole thing. We have his bench, his maibako, yokobako. We have everything. And he built it he ordered it, the bench, in a kumitate form. It's available. You can be folding it up and put it away. I don't know why he did it, because he moves so often. So at the moment, it's in storage format. Photos from before disassembly. No, when we arrived at that room, it was in disassembled form, because he was in the process of moving house at the time all this happened. I don't know how much of every detail I've told you. When I went to Canada in February, he had asked me, Dave, I need a couple of weeks off. Don't send me another job. I'll have my next job by the 17th, blah, 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 blah. And he moved house. So he packed everything up himself in boxes, arranged for a moving company to take it to the new place. They did, and then he visited the hospital, and that was that. So what we did the other day, we visited the new workshop and picked up everything that was packed. It was already packed and set up. So in that sense, it couldn't have been better timing. I mean, it was already arranged. We didn't have to go into his room and pack it all ourselves. It was already packed. Which makes me a little bit suspicious about what he really knew was going on. But it doesn't matter. We don't have to go there. Some questions don't need to be asked, and some stories don't need to be told. Yes, the cap with the hole in, yes. And that's what's sitting there right now, and they're all liquid. And what is of great interest to me too is the tray with all those colors in. That's hugely important information. What did he consider to be his basic set of pigments? I know already there will be a couple of reds, a cool red, a warm red, a cool blue, warm blue, maybe 3 blues. There will be no green or purple or anything. And I really, really, really absolutely want to document perfectly what was his kihon, what was his basic perfect set of colors. So many jobs, so much work waiting, and so little time. Weren't you the supplier for his pigments? No, not at all, not at all. He knew, when we first started working with Kabota-san, we did have to clarify with him what kind of pigments and what kind of palette we wanted to use. Because he was, the place he worked for, Adachi, did ukiyo-e reproduction printing, but they also did some amount of modern printing. Galleries in Germany or whatever would contract with them to make modern prints of their local artist or something. So Kabota-san did have experience printing modern work, which would have required different pigments and a different palette. So when we first started working with Kabota-san, we had to clarify with him what the Mokuhankan palette was, what pigments we wanted to use and wanted to appear in our prints. And he signed on with us for that. So in that batch of pigments that he has in his workshop, not all of them would have been used to make prints for Dave. So many questions, I'm sorry. Are we planning on using his tools in the printing rotation or just for preservation? This is an extremely interesting, deep, and complicated question. The biggest factor there, over and above personal feelings, should somebody else touch another man's tools, the biggest factor is that by using tools, brushes and barons, they get worn, they get used. So if the number one goal was preservation, then no, none of them should be used. But having said that, if you take one of our brushes and a baron and don't use it, it dries out to a husk. It will start to split, crack. It will become not a good sample anymore of what the tool was. So there's a paradox involved. Don't touch them, they don't preserve well. Use them, they don't preserve well. So there's no easy single answer for that from a physical point of view, how to physically preserve these things. Other than that, there's the moral things. How, should you use another man's tools? Well, he said, go ahead. He himself wants these things to be used and enjoyed and studied rather than being thrown away. Obviously, that's why he called us. So I have permission for this. There's no easy answer for this. There's a related thing I remember, and I may have sort of told this story or mentioned this before. It's unrelated to Kabota-san. It's a book. There's a Japanese man, he may be dead by now, a Japanese man living in California somewhere who apprenticed in Japan. He apprenticed in Japan to make shoji screens and stuff like this. Then when he was fairly young still, he moved to America, became an American in mood and feeling and whatever. But he worked in America making these shoji screens, but he carried with him always his Japanese training. And he tells the story how at one point when he made a screen in America, it was during a demonstration. He had taken some tools to a demonstration place and made a shoji screen so people could watch and see how it was done. And then at the end of the demonstration, he smashed it up and put all the parts. And people are shocked. Oh my God, that was a beautiful screen. What do you mean smash it up? And he said, well, it wasn't made very well. You know, I couldn't, I did it while I was talking to you. I didn't do a good job. There's no way this is going into the marketplace. But he then related that his training and his upbringing would never have allowed him to do such a thing, to waste his work. That every piece of work the craftsman does must go out into society, into the world. And he said his master originally, if he had seen him do that, he would have been so disgusted and disappointed with him. So the background of this, and if you think Kabota-san has a beautiful baron or a beautiful brush, that brush, the only reason for it to come into existence is to get used in the production of beautiful prints. To take that brush and not use it, to put it on the shelf and just let it die, let's take pictures and collect it, it's a dishonor for the brush maker. I'm maybe not quite explaining this well enough, I don't know. I myself, I'm in both of these worlds, so I half understand and I half don't understand. But I think you can get the idea. That brush maker who so carefully figured out the tensile strength of the hairs and everything else, he did it not to make a brush. That brush maker did it to make these. And if we take the product he made and just put it in a display case in a museum and don't touch it, it's dishonoring his work. His work was meant to be used and used up making woodblock prints. And I get this. And we have that situation now with Kabota-san's tools in a sort of double sense. The man who made the brushes, the man who made the barons, his ethic, his philosophy. And then Kabota-san himself. Don't put my stuff in a display case. Use it. Give it to some young people. Use it. If you don't use it, there's no meaning to it. So Dave now sits in the middle of all of these competing, conflicting, paradoxical ideas. You know. What was the guy's name, the Japanese man who made shoji screens? He's written a couple of books about Japanese tools. As I said, it's a long ago generation. He was my father's generation, so maybe he's dead now. Nobody's got the link. I'm not explaining it well enough. Odate, was that his name? I don't remember. Someone says, you use Ito-san's chisel. I'm using one of them, the one that I use with the Persuader, yes. But the other delicate ones I don't use. And it's good that I didn't, because if I had been using Ito-san's delicate carving knife, he gave it to me his wife gave it to me in 1999, 26 years ago. And if I had been using it, it would have been long gone. It would have disappeared. It would have been used up long ago. And now it is still there in the cupboard. Toshio Odate, that's it, that's the guy. Thank you very much. He's the guy who recounted this story about making the screen and destroying it, and his master would have been vividly upset with him. Thank you. Ask the internet. Oh, someone's put. Okay, I think I can throw the egg. Do we get a real egg? How is it? Stormy, you sir get a real David egg because you helped me find a link that I couldn't find by myself. Thank you very much. Is this the one? General help to the stream gets an egg from the stream. Specific help finding Dave find something that he couldn't remember gets an egg from Dave. I don't know. I've probably contradicted myself here. I'm sorry. Say something one day and the next day I give a different answer. I don't know. Memes. So the real eggs. So, we're giving out these stupid chocolate eggs, and what everybody wants are real eggs. Do we need a new bot command? Dave yeets a dozen fresh eggs at somebody. Good luck, you Americans. Two, three, four, five, six. Is there questions? Construction on the workspace. What's the... I'm missing questions, I'm sorry. Construction about the workspace, I don't know. You mean this room, you mean? Any book corner this morning? Yes, we have a book corner this morning. Air quotes. We do indeed have a book corner. Dave is bopping to his inner John Coltrane. That's part of our book corner today. It is indeed another hint for the upcoming book corner. You guys know me. My God, you know me. No birds today. We had birds galore last time. So we had the heron walked by. We had kingfisher flybys. Silence out there. Silence. Some of the stolen music sheets. Not at all, sir. Not at all. Nothing stolen at all. But there's an earworm involved, and once you got it in your ear... How's our time? 8:43. Okay, tell you what, actually, before I do this job, let's look at some video from yesterday. Sadako carefully took a bunch of video. I've started this. Let me finish this one second. Let's look at some video. It is indeed a lovely spring day in Ome. It's beautifully peaceful and quiet. It's actually quite warm, considering. The temperature in the workshop here today is, what does it say? Here we are. Look at that. Wow. We're 10 degrees higher than last time I was here. It is a beautiful, beautiful day in Ome. Does each print on the site have a waiting list? There's no button on all of them. We should have, and it's on my list of things to do, that whenever a print is marked as reprinting, there should be a button there that says, click here to add your name to the waiting list for this print. I haven't built that flexibility yet, but Naomi-san does keep names and email addresses. If there's a print on the website that you're waiting for, Night Rain, which is printing now, by the way, Dei-chan is printing it right now. If you're waiting for Night Rain, just drop an email to our contact form. Tell Naomi-san, please let me know when Night Rain is back. Okay, before we click the video link, I need to show you something. This. Many of you, most of you of course, already know what this is all about. For our subscription print sets, many of them have an optional box. It's a Polonia box. We have them made for us by a company down in Osaka. And the box inside has, on the top layer, it has an acrylic sheet and a piece of wood. And inside, this is not a sales talk, I'm just showing what we're doing here the last couple of days. Inside, the prints from any given series stack up. Now the prints, when we ship subscription prints, the last few years we've been doing it, each print comes with, the print is mounted. Oh, Kabota-san's last print, yeah, I didn't plan on that, but whatever. Oh, this is Ishikawa-san's printing. So the print is there with the story. And what people do is, they fold it back, and fold it back, and it goes behind the acrylic sheet and on the stand, and it goes on display. So this is our concept. You don't frame stuff on the wall. You don't have to frame stuff on the wall. You've got a 1-year set of prints that do, and you show them one at a time. Now the frame actually is big enough that when the print is a horizontal format, it also fits, and when the print is a vertical format, it fits. So far so good. And we've been doing this for years and years and years and years and years. But the problem is the company, we used to make all the boxes completely in-house, but we gave up because it was just incredible. I could not make 500 boxes a year in running everything else. So we ordered the boxes from an outside company, but they will not cut the slot. He just doesn't have the capability. He has a beautiful, gorgeous flat table saw that he made. He and his wife, they're older than me. I'm 73 and they're older than me, and there's no way they're going to change. They just don't know. So he says, Dave, I'm sorry. I'll happily make you the boxes very nicely, but I will not cut the slot. So the slot cutting is something that we do here. And this is what Sadako and I were doing yesterday afternoon. I'll show you some video, and it's what I will be doing today for the rest of the afternoon. Another batch of 110 boxes have come in. People are waiting for these. These are going to be shipped out on March the 21st. Lots of people are waiting for them. How do we cut the slots? Well, it should be simple. It's a simple slot, but it's at an angle. So any of you who have experience with woodworking, you go to your nice table saw, you crank it to a 20-degree angle, and you put in a dado head that is 9.5 millimeters wide. Bzzzt, done. I have 2 table saws upstairs. The flat, big one I made myself, it doesn't tilt. I have a simpler, smaller, consumer-level table saw that tilts, but it's not designed to take a dado head. It's just taking a single blade. Why don't I buy a nice Rockwell Delta table saw that will do these jobs? Such things don't exist in Japan. There's no general consumer-grade table saws here, because no Japanese house. You can't run a table saw in an apartment or even in a house like this. People don't need or would know how to use table saws. Nothing like this at all. So there's junk. The one I've got is ordered from China. It's $300, $400. It's junk, won't do the job. A fully professional table saw that would tilt would cost here at least $2,000, probably more, and it would run on 200 volts, 3-phase, which this house does not have. So it would be a staggering investment for us, and a table saw that would not be used for 300 days a year, that would just go rusty. So what we do is this. I have a tiltable table saw upstairs, as I mentioned, but it doesn't have a dado head. So you can get where this is going. We set it up, make one pass on 100 boxes, move the blade, do it again, set the height, set the thing, make another pass with another 100 boxes. So this is what Sadako and I have been doing the last time. Someone says, it looks like the slot goes below the top layer of the box. Ha ha ha, somebody is very eagle-eyed. Inside, we have a reinforcing strip just at the place where the slot goes. We're on this. Now, there's lots of other options. What about a table router? Now, we've tried this, actually. Years ago, we did. I built a router table here, And we did this, but the problem with the router table is this. Cutting that much wood all at once, it just inevitably, it cracks and pops. This Polonia wood cracks so easily. So we have a multi-pass system. So it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Multi-pass on a router table, very difficult to get the settings done, or multi-pass on the table saw. Someone's talking about routers. It's not routers. We're not deciding which route to take. We're routing, which means digging out material. It's a router table. Here, let's have a bit of video. Where am I? This is from yesterday afternoon. Let me know about the noise. If it's too loud, let me know. So putting in the first cut. A low audio, low video. Okay. So of course I've got the table set up, the clamp, everything to give me the... I'm not listening to anything. I'm using noise cancelling headphones so that I don't go deaf from using the table saw. For the first one, I've got to open it and see where is that support beam. Once I decide where the support beam is, close it up, because it doesn't show on the outside. And make sure I've got them lined up. This is the B1. It's the room right above me right now. Yeah, Black & Decker work made at the left. Yes, this is a Chinese junk table saw. Someone's saying, don't let OSHA see this. What specifically is dangerous here? I'm being extremely careful with the saw. I don't think there's anything specifically dangerous that I'm doing there. That's part one. Let's see if I can pick up another one. One sec. This is later in the day. It's in the evening. We're doing different batches. And now there's a shim in there to move the box along, and I have adjusted the height of the saw. So this is cut number 2, and this is the left and right edge, or the front and back edge of the groove. How many did I accidentally cut in the wrong place? Well, actually, none. And you can see there's a shim. The guide on the table hasn't been moved. People are complaining, someone's complaining because I'm doing this on the floor. This is the normal way here, of course. No problem. Is it a table saw or a floor saw? This is normal in Japan to sit like this and do this on the floor. Not a problem. Someone says you need an intern for this sort of thing. Well, you know, I really don't want to do this. I would happily outsource something like this. Let's pick up the next one. I would happily outsource this to somebody outside, but inside the company here, I do not want anybody else playing with electric tools like this. I'll do this myself, but if I have an employee do this and they decide to do it in a hurry and rush and whatever, someone's talking about table saw for somewhere else. You know, it was on my list when I was in Canada this spring to see if I could find a decent table saw that I could be able to ship over here. I didn't actually get to it. It was on my list. But yeah, this is Sadako yesterday. Sadako filmed this. There's no dust collector. I'm sorry. Our workshop here, you can maybe see some of the tools in the background. There's a compressor in the background. This is a table saw. As we pan across, there's the router table is hidden at the left there. belt sander. All the tools are stacked up, and we bring out the ones we need to use one at a time. There's no way to keep all the tools set up at the same time. So we have to keep the tools all stored against the wall, and one by one bring them out as we use them. There's absolutely no way to do it any other way here. If I pause this thing, there in the background, above my head there, wrapped in plastic, that's our bandsaw. Below that is our jigsaw. In front of that is the belt sander. They're all stacked up and stored. But the idea of a table saw, someone's asking, a table saw for private home use doesn't exist. Of course professional beautiful table saws exist. Stunningly expensive, 3-phase power, and it will go rusty in this environment. I'm using a different size shim. This is a 5-pass system, and there's 5 different sizes of shim. I think this is the last one I'm using. And after we've done that cutting, she and I then did the final hand finishing. We're now up on the bench. There's a workbench, a standing bench. I'm now standing here. You can see the result after 5 passes of the blade. This is Paulownia wood, very, very, very soft. Someone's asking about the dado blade. Both things are true. The saw doesn't support a dado blade, nor could we purchase such a thing in Japan. They don't exist here, which is real. I was stunned when I first learned that. And then some rough sandpaper on the edge of this board, which just fits the slot. And again, because this is Paulownia wood, extremely soft and easy to work. If it were cherry or something, this would be much more difficult. Someone says it's so inefficient. It is indeed inefficient, but at the moment we just do not have any option. We can't find a place to outsource this. The maker will not do this. We need about 300 boxes a year, so in February, normally this is done in January, February, I do these. And then the very last video, after I rough sand it there, I passed it across. This is now Sadako, and she's taking light finishing sandpaper, and we're just touching it up. The people that did the shelves don't have a proper table saw. They indeed do have a proper table saw, and of course when he was here, I asked him about this. He said, sorry Dave, we're busy. They build houses. They're not interested in doing little finicky work like this to get like $10 per box or something. They build houses. No, someone's asking, do they want more work from me? They don't. They are busy, busy, busy. Yesterday and today we're doing 110 boxes. There we are. It's now finished. It's okay. It's no big deal. It's peaceful work. I can't say it's peaceful, quiet work, but it is peaceful work. And that's what we were doing yesterday, and that's what I'll be doing again this afternoon. Chop, chop, chop. I know it's inefficient. I'm sorry. Life is what life is. And if we needed tens of thousands of these a year, yes, we'd find some giant factory who could make them for us. But we only need about 300 each year. We're very happy to have the guy who is making them. We've been around and around and around with boxes. I have a box museum upstairs And this is no exaggeration. You know, Dave, the Yorkshire exaggeration with Dave. Oh, I saw 3 people yesterday. I have a box museum upstairs with easily 2 dozen different designs for boxes that either we have made ourselves and put into production, or hired from an outside workshop, put into production, cancel, put it. Over 2 dozen designs. This box has morphed over the years. People we've asked to make them for us, they do it for a year and then say, sorry guy, I'm out of here, never again. The problem is it's the quantity. It's not enough to fully to fully have it done in a factory. We only need a few hundred. Someone's asking, why is a slot cutter not used for this work? I guess you came late. The slot is at an angle. My table saw, I have 2 table saws. Neither of them is usable with the dado. The table saw I built does work with a dado head, but it won't tilt. I couldn't build a tilting table saw myself. I could build a straight, flat table saw. Those of you who came late to this, we showed earlier in the stream what those boxes are for, how they are used, and we showed the backstory. Someone again, they're going to a tilted wedge on top of the saw. Of course, that was another idea. The table saw I built, of course, the blade comes up and it comes down. And the idea is use a flat table saw, the blade coming up with the dado blade, and then have the box in a stand that slides across. The blade won't come high enough. The blade does come high, 3 centimeters high, but the box itself, if you think about it, by the time, the way the slot works there, to put this on a table saw, we need this much height, and it doesn't work. See what I mean? There's no way I can put this on a tilted stand on a flat table saw, because if it was at the edge of the box, yes. I mean, thank you for the suggestions. We have been around and around and around and around. How's our time? 9:03. So I'll finish this little group, and then we'll slide along to our book corner. What if we angle a slot the other way? That's not what we want. We want the slot to be angled that way. The slot has to be angled the way it is, so that the stuff stands. If the slot was angled the other way, then the thing would be standing here if the slot was reversed. That's not the product that we want to have. If this was here, then the box is going to fall over backwards. So no, there's no way around it. Again, the suggestions that involve buying another professional tool, again, professional tools in Japan are stunningly expensive, and any tool like this runs on 200 volt 3-phase power, which is not in this building. This is a house. So I would have to get the electrical company to give me a new electrical panel. There's just any number of barriers in the way of this. Not to mention, too, the other one, as I mentioned, when we tried this with the router table, taking out that much wood all in one pass on Polonia is very, very difficult. We did go through that, and the loss factor is so large. This is another major reason why I'm doing it this way, cutting a little bit at a time. Polonia is okay, but you try and take too much, your saw goes through even slowly, and then bang, it'll explode at the end of the slot. So just after years and years and years of experimentation and trials and errors, this is where we're at. And it's no big deal. I'm out here in Ome, spend a couple of enjoyable days. It's all right. Sadako was here, I said. Sadako was here yesterday helping me. She's here also today to do this. What she's doing today while this stream is on, I thought it might be fun to have Sadako sitting here and we can chat while we do this work, but she didn't want to be this much public. So what Sadako is doing upstairs right now is this. She is in our print storeroom upstairs. And she is going through basically every drawer in the storeroom. And she is looking for prints that were made by Kabota-san. I'm sorry to come back to the same topic again. This is going to be a thing for us here for quite a while. When the daughter talked to us about picking up Kabota-san's tools and workshop, she asked Dave, in the middle of all the packages there might be some prints that were made by my father. Can I maybe have those? And we said, of course. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. Once we start opening those packages, if there are prints in there that he's made, his stuff left over, I will carefully wrap them and get them ready for you. Don't worry, absolutely. And then I said, right away, I said, I don't even know if there's any in there or not, but what I will also do is I will go to our storeroom and look through, I don't have everything he made for us because it's sold. I will go through the storeroom and find what I can that was made by your dad, and I will pull one of each, and we will put them in folders and present them to you. So that's what Sadako's doing today. She is upstairs digging through the storeroom, trying to find prints that were made by Kabota-san. And we will prepare these and present them to the daughter, because she has nothing else left over from her dad. The suggestion is still suggesting the router with a long bit. Chatter. There's no way. The thing would explode. Cutting that much wood with an extended bit. Okay, I think that's all I want to do of this. This will now go to Ishigami-san. Her next step, she'll be putting it in a package like this, getting it ready. Ishigami-san, that's enough. And the off-cut paper will, at some point, eventually make its way to Murata-san. We keep carefully all the way paper offcuts. We've been keeping them for decades. Murata-san wants them. And these will go to our paper maker, Murata-san. Book corner. How can I do this? Here's today's book. It's sheet music. It's a piece of music called Funk Lickety. As you can read it, composed and arranged by Bobby Hales, published by the Canada Jazz Press. This all happened in 1974. Canada Jazz Press is present tense. Canada Jazz Press, past tense, was yours truly. I published this. I am the publisher of this thing. I owned the company called Canada Jazz Press. It's now very, very, very much in the past. I used to work for the music store, the place I used to be the manager. Before I was the manager, I was a gopher, working in the warehouse, just doing this. And we were a music store that sold sheet music to schools. The school band director would come in, look through the stock of sheet music, and he would buy stuff for his school band. So we received publications from publishers, mostly in the US. There were a few in Canada. We received publications from all these places. We stocked them in our library. That was our music shop. It was a wholesale library for school music teachers to come. We didn't have an actual shop in the city of Vancouver at first. We just had library. And band directors and string orchestra directors and a choral, people from church choirs came in and bought music from us. I was just working there. I didn't own a company, nothing like that. It was called Northwest Musical Services. This is 1971, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something. I went there, I guess, in 72. I would have been employee number 3? I forget. We didn't have badges, so whatever. I was employee number 3. And I ended up, by 1986, I was managing the place. I was the general manager. I wasn't owning it. I had no equity stake in it, but I was, by 1986, I ran the place. The owner was off somewhere. He did the bank loans and stuff like that, and I managed the place. But back to the beginning of this, back in the early 1970s, me and one of the other guys who worked in a warehouse, Paul Roy, we saw the business model that publishers were creating different kinds of music, selling them to wholesalers like us, who then sold them to school music teachers. There was a big movement on in the 1970s for what was called stage band music. Now this, if you come from the old dance band orchestras of the 1930s and 40s, through the swing bands like Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller, this kind of stuff in the 1940s and then on into the 50s, the form stayed. 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, 5 saxes, and a rhythm section. And it became what was called the stage band. And I guess maybe it still exists in America or whatever around. So schools would have a band, like a marching band, to walk down the street and playing tubas and piccolos and all that kind of stuff. And they would have a stage band of 18 guys, whatever. So stage band music was a big deal. So Dave, sitting there in Vancouver, thought, I will take a wonderful opportunity. There are a number of composer-arrangers in Vancouver who do interesting, good jazz stage band music. Me and Paul Roy, we decided to open up what we called the Canada Jazz Press. We even had a logo. Wow, CJP. Logo. There's no computers. This is 1974. There's nothing going on. This is all this stuff. The font you see. What was it called? There's plastic sheets and you rub a pencil and you transfer the letter onto a piece of paper. What was it called? That kind of lettering. Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember at all. So we got all this rub-ons. No, there was a name for it. No. Transfer. Letraset. Big Bad Band, you got it. I think you're right. Take your egg. Letraset. And we prepared this by Letraset. And what I did was the local guy, Bobby Hales, I made a contract with him. Bob, let me be your publisher. And he's like, yeah, wow. Am I going to get much money? I said, well, let's try this. Let's try this. So I paid for a music copyist to take Bob's manuscript and put it into proper form. Classical music is all done with, proper looking fonts, but jazz music is usually done with handwritten copying. But it's difficult to do properly. So we hired a professional copyist to do the full set. The director's score, the trumpet parts, the parts for all the saxophones, all the stuff. There's a full set of parts here for every member of the stage band. And we published it. And then what me and Paul did, we prepared a flyer. We sent a little memo. New publisher from Canada, live, exciting new music from a place you've never heard of. And we sent one copy of these, like this. This is one of them left over. We sent a complimentary copy to every one of the music dealers in America who dealt in sheet music. We put a little letter inside announcing our upcoming publication schedule. Here's the first one. Here's a comp copy for you. Would you like to buy some more? I forget how many dealers, 100, 150? I don't even know. It would be pointless for me to say a number. But every school music dealer in America, we sent one of these to them. And this was back in 1974. And then we sat back and waited for the orders to pour in. You know where the story's going, of course. We got one order from Stanton's Sheet Music in Columbus, Ohio. And not only that, they paid for the complimentary copy. They sent a check for US for $8 or something. List price was $12. I think dealer price was $8. So they sent us a check for $8. Didn't order any more, but they happily paid for the copy we had sent them. And that was that. was that. We did one more. We published the next one called Pacific Blue with Ian McDougall, another Canadian composer at the time. So we published two of these things before we realized that this really probably wasn't going anywhere. And anyway, our boss, Bill, said, come on, you guys, you're working for me. Enough of these side jobs, focus on your jobs here. So whatever. So these things are out there. And the one reason why they didn't fly was, of course, because nobody knew what it sounded like. These days, you would send them a link to a soundtrack. People could look at it, see it. Hey, that's a cool chart. We'll recommend it to our school directors. Back in 1974, there was no way to do that. We could have hired a band, making a recording of it, dubbed cassette tapes, sent them out. That would have been way, way, way more expensive than we could possibly afford. But now, of course, you want to hear this thing. So now, what's the rules about playing music on Twitch streams? Music to which you don't have the rights and whatever. Well, thinking about it, actually, I have in my drawers upstairs somewhere. I own the rights to this song. Bob Hales, who is now dead, kept the copyright. But I bought from him the rights to publish this, to promote this, to print this, to record this, to do whatever with it. Me and Paul Roy, who is long gone from this, I have the rights to do this. So I have teed up here. You're going to laugh when you see it. This is, I'm just going to play it. It's a YouTube video. So I'll do two things. I'll send you the link to the YouTube video. And then let me play it. I'll play this chart here. I think it's okay to play this on Twitch because I own the rights to this damn thing. There's the video, but don't start playing it right now because I am going to play this thing. Colombo. (1974). Out of tune saxes. It's 4 minutes, not 41. 4. I think we turned the page here, I don't remember. Great, great fun. Great, great fun. A couple of more things about this. This was recorded in 1974. Bob Hales, the composer of this, as I said, I bought the rights to do this and to publish it, but I just let it go. I didn't end up doing anything with it. Bob Hales, who was a local composer-arranger, made a living doing things like he wrote theme music for TV shows. If you're a Canadian and you go back to that era, there was a program called The Beachcombers, a very, very, very popular CBC TV program. Bob Hales did the theme music for The Beachcombers. So he was a big wheel in the local scene there. And the one you just heard, he put out his own LP called, what is it? We saw the link there. One of My Bags. A total homemade production. It's the title, the video link I sent you has the title to it. But a bit of a backstory is the musicians in Bob Hale's pickup band, CBC studio musicians, my dad was his baritone sax player. So on that album that we linked to there, Music Is My Bag, Bob Hales, the front side and the back side have a bit of a different blend of musicians. If you look at that video, partway through you'll see the back side of the album cover comes up. And my dad is playing baritone sax. He's on there. So we just heard a little bit of my old man, Roy Bull, playing. I don't know if he was on that cut. I don't remember. Dad was on the album, A cut, B cut, C cut. Different tracks had different people playing on them. And my dad was playing on there back in 1974. And I too, I'm not on that album, but I too was one of the musicians on call from people like Bob Hales and Dal Richards. I never, ever, ever was part of the top scene there. I never got CBC studio calls. I got nothing. I was a B rank, C rank, D rank, E rank, F rank, G rank, H rank musician there in Vancouver in those days with my tenor sax. And I should have copied this. My brother, when I was in Vancouver in February, my brother was going through my parents' old albums and stuff, and he found a photograph of a job. It must have been, maybe it was a Bob Hales job, and it was at the Kitsilano Showboat. And the saxophone section is Fraser McPherson, my dad's there, somebody else is there, and Dave Bull is playing second tenor sax. And that would have been like maybe the highlight of my career or something. I was no good. I was the ultimate turkey. I was a classical flute player who was fooling around with these things. I got to find that picture. I should have had it ready for today. Dave Bull playing with the Bob Hales Orchestra. Anyway, that's today's book corner. There are two of these things out there. One is called Funk Lickety. The second one, I think I've got a shot of the cover. I don't have any more copies of the music. They got trashed years ago. So here's the second one. It was Pacific Blue. The guy called Ian McDougall. Super trombone player. My God, super trombone player. And these were published in 1974 for the school music market. There's another little sideline too. When we started doing this, me and Paul Roy, okay, I've got a story about this. Years back on my Story a Week, I talked about this. The story I'm telling you today, I talked about this on my Story a Week. So later on, if you want to have a look at this, you can see there. What font is this? I have no idea. You tell me. I picked up one of those Letraset fonts years ago. We did this. I have no idea what the actual font name is. I'm sorry. But what was it, the sidelight? I was just going to say something else. Oh, I forgot. I lost my thread there. No, I lost my thread. I'm sorry. Something else I meant to mention about it. So next week, get my sax out and jam on this. No way. No way. Good morning. Oh, you're streaming it at the same time. Well, can you pause that or something?
Yeah.
Come and say hello. You know where the camera here. I think it's here. Sadako's here. Let me get up a different camera. Did you find lots of Kabota prints?
Plenty.
We got a good stack for her. Super, super, super. I know it's all she's got left. You know. I explained to the stream earlier what you were doing.
I heard
so, yeah,
everything.
Okay. Sorry. Just glad we can do that. So good. Thank you very much. Cold room upstairs, this, huh?
No, I have.
Yeah, you. She's got like 6 layers of clothes on. You know.
Will you look?
We don't need to count.
I'm hot. Yeah.
Good. Well, that room upstairs, you know, if you open the doors and the windows, it gets sunshine direct. That room gets.
Yes.
That's why we keep the room upstairs on the second floor. 1, 2, 3, 4 stories up from where we are now. That's where we keep the prints, because it's the driest, most safest place. We keep the blocks down here on B1 and 2 because this is concrete. And the idea is if the place ever catches fire, the house upstairs will burn. We'll lose the prints, but we won't lose the blocks. The fire department will get here. The concrete part will be saved. So we keep our blocks. So, and the bottom part is damp. Doesn't really hurt the blocks, but damp would really hurt the prints. So that's the way we store things here. Prints upstairs could burn up, but they won't moldy. Blocks downstairs, they won't burn up, but it doesn't matter if they get moldy. So.
I enjoy the music.
It was cool, you know. So somebody said Colombo. I mean, you can see Paul Roy and I, it's mostly me, but my friend Paul Roy and I, we were hearing this music around Vancouver, and we knew there was a huge business in selling music for schools. So, and the American publishers didn't know anything about this, so we thought it was a fabulous opportunity. And it was actually. The problem was 1974, I was 23 years old. I could see this thing, but I had no ability to make it happen. We even struggled to, I mean, you can see the fonts and stuff, and they just, whatever. It was a little homemade job. The owner of our company is just like, okay, guys, go and play with this. It's fine, go and play, you know. Whatever, can't be helped. It was a good idea. If we had business knowledge, a bit more financing, get a recording made, visit the shops in America, you know, it could have flown, but just whatever. I didn't have the experience. But the experience you get from those little things all added up to why Mokuhankan now is sort of so successful, because all the things you learn and fool around with and fail at during those other years, they all come together for what you're doing later, you know. So someone's selling the album, $50. Go for it, whatever. It's on YouTube. So okay, I can't remember. Okay, I think that'll do it. We've come to 9:30. We didn't get any bird visits today. Not that I noticed. We've had the camera up there. We didn't see a heron.
Yeah,
we didn't see kingfishers.
Of the
Stream?
I heard plenty of bird.
The warbler, you mean?
Well, yes.
And the pigeons
warbler.
came next door, but that's it.
Little bit.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. From now on, I know the idea of Ome streams, there's a little bit of a problem for me now. Over the past few months, we've tried to make Thursday into an Ome stream. I don't make it here every week, but we've tried to make this a thing. But now, as the spring moves into the summer now, we have a major problem about printing in Mokuhankan. And Dave, as much as possible, is going to be now making prints. And that's not really something I can easily do here in Ome. Even though this was my printing life for years, I can't bring all the printing gear, print here Thursdays, run back to Asakusa, go back there Saturday and print. So maybe for the next, whatever, we'll play it by ear, week by week by week. But the Thursday, Saturday, Monday streams will probably be coming from the printing bench upstairs in Asakusa. I can't easily come here to do printing and go back there, move the blocks, move everything around.
Back to printer.
So I'm back to becoming a printer. I'm still a manager, I'm still a carver, I'm still a video producer, everything else. But on top of this now, I have to pick up from Mr. Kabota and become a printer. Somebody says, does this mean I'll be in the store more often? I'll be in Asakusa more often, but I'm going to be up on the 3rd floor. I can't do the printing down on the 1st floor of the shop. You can't be a printer and people, oh, hello, how you doing? Let's take a picture and get back to printing. It's just not possible. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But the point being, I would like to be here in Ome a lot more and talk to the fish and birds, but maybe it won't be happening as much as it could be happening. Anyway, that's all for now. Let's put the outside camera back up. It's the last time you see. So goodbye. And thanks very much for joining us today. The next stream will be Saturday morning, and I can guarantee, unless there's an earthquake or something, I will be in Asakusa with a set of blocks printing. Thanks very much. I've had good fun today chatting about these things. Some old memories coming back. Funk lickety, my God. Thanks, people. See you on Saturday. 3, 2, 1, down we go.